everybody. My name is Dana Mantilia. I am back, and we have our guest, Noam Zolberg. Hello, Noam. How are you?
Hi, Dana. Nice to meet you again.
Nice to meet you. So, before we get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your company, and then we'll hit to the topic that everyone's dying to hear about.
Great. Thank you very much for having me today. My name is Noam Zolberg, as Dana said. I'm the founder and CEO of Cyber. We set out to remove the blind spot from the human factor in the whole cybersecurity realm. I have been in the cyber technology realm for quite a few years. I saw both sides of the table. I was on the developing of solutions and interception tools for intelligence organizations and government agencies. And then a few years later, I switched sides and started playing defense. And having seen and experienced both sides of the equation, this whole idea dawned on me that at the end of the day, we human beings are the biggest problem in the whole cyber equation.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as we cannot be hardwired like in the Matrix movie and have our operating system upgraded or replaced, we are done for. And our behavior is predetermined by personality traits and environmental stress. And that is what my company set out to understand, predict, and measure and help solve.
Well, fantastic. That's definitely a huge, huge problem because the people are the biggest problem. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about insider risk, a human behavior problem, not a technology problem. So our first
Indeed.
question is going to be, why does cyber risks and breach continue to increase in numbers and severity despite the $130 billion spent on cybersecurity?
It stems from the fact that technology per se, pure technology, uh, represents somewhere between 10 to 15% of the root cause for cyber breaches and incidents. Despite, the news that it makes and despite the sheer numbers that it represents in terms of damage, the number of instances that are involved with human behavior that has nothing to do with your VPN setup, with your two-factor authentication existing or not, your DNS health, or any other technology factor. What we do and why we do it is the root cause for the most number of breaches. So the hundreds of billions of dollars that are invested in surrounding us with technology don't really prevent us from clicking. Right? Essentially it.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. And that's what we're doing. We're just doing it and spending more money while we're doing it. So something's got to change, which is what you have done. All right. So is the human attack surface? What is the human attack surface and what is done about it?
The human attack surface could be described in three main categories. We have malicious intent, predetermined, premeditated, planned malicious act against the organization, against our employer, against our peers. On the other extreme end, we have negligence. Negligence is something that we either inclined to behave, or we choose to behave. We can look the other way when we see a fire burning in our office and just run out and not hit the fire alarm, or we can actually choose to take the extinguisher and put it out. That really represent that side of the problem. And in the center between those two, we have the vulnerability to be fooled and manipulated. What is described in today's cyber realm as the business email compromise, spear phishing, falling for sophisticated social engineering, and that it could really be directly attributed to our personality traits. Now, what is done about it? That's a big question. Training has gone a long way in the first few years that it came to existence to raise awareness. Much like our, health, personal health hygiene, We just came out of 3 years of world global pandemic. In the same manner that we learn to use face mask and wash our hands every so often, cyber hygiene is pretty much the same. But eventually, perpetrators and hackers always have the leading edge. They have the advantage to find and identify human vulnerabilities, and those are far and many. Um, and so long as we cannot overcome impulses and a behavior that is attributed to personality traits and the environmental pressures in our workplace, there is little that can be done about it at this point in time.
They're going to say something great. You're right. There's nothing we can do about it because the personality, I love the fact that you talk about the personalities because there are certain people that, they just, I don't know, there's the common sense factor isn't there. I don't know what it is, or they just don't pay attention. And, how do we get to some of these people? I just don't know.
Soundway Consulting has been helping the U.S. government and its business partners address today's most complex cyber challenges for over a decade. Soundway Consulting is a CMMC C3PAO candidate. Let them be your expert guide to CMMC compliance. They will provide a clear path to implementing cybersecurity processes and practices. They have a proven track record, and they warranty their work. Visit soundwayconsulting.com or call their office today.
A term I use is habitual clickers. Some people just cannot help it. They can undergo their cyber awareness training every so often, and they could fail it or pass it and then get retrained, maybe get reprimanded for failing, but they just can't help themselves. It's stronger than them. It's a little bit like people leaning towards addictions, people who are thrill seekers, may be more inclined to gamble. This has some of the same common elements. It has also been demonstrated, and that is a very unfortunate fact, that some of us, over 10% of the population, actually are inclined to act at a greater risk following training. They develop what is determined by behavioral psychologists as an overconfidence bias. They feel they know it all. They feel that they can recognize the phishing email or the improper message while they are driving in traffic on their cell phone, which is located on their dashboard 4 feet away, and they can decide if they should click it or not, or when they are, watching a game or somewhere or other in a bar. And that overconfidence is the root cause for many unfortunate events.
That's funny. Who would have thought? But you're right. It does make sense. I know I had the training, so I'm not going to click on anything, right? Why is cyber awareness training losing impact, and what can be done about it?
Well, in the same way that, the both of us could take the same class and we would absorb knowledge differently, we would be able to use it and remember it differently. The way we are able to draw or lean on the training and the education that we receive in order to act and behave is different. But today, most of cyber awareness training is one size fits all, and people are different. There has to be an adjustment that not only would fit our training level or our proficiency as users of smartphones and IT equipment, but there has to be adjustment that fits our personality traits. Quick learners, fast memory, slow memory. How quickly is the knowledge forgotten? All of these elements have to be applied to cyber training.
Yeah, I like that. That's very, very, very good point. And I'm sure you have a solution for that, right?
Working on it.
All right, good stuff. Good
Yeah.
stuff. All right, what's the future hold on the human factor in cybersecurity? What are we going to do?
There is no doubt, and we see the trend that it has become a common knowledge. There is no disagreement anymore that there has to be more than technology applied in cybersecurity. The training was and the whole cyber awareness and hygiene, which is purely human behavior, has been around for 3 or 4 years, but now the solution providers and the cyber consulting providers are becoming to acknowledge the fact that there has to be a behavioral element thrown into the mix of cyber defense altogether. Those could be solutions that would be tailored around people's behavior. For instance, how many senior C-level executives say, hey, why should I be a target? Nobody knows me. I don't even have a Facebook page. Um, I would never be targeted. And you'd be surprised how easily it is to fish someone with such a superior approach to cybersecurity altogether. So I think the personality and the behavioral tailoring of security elements is essential. Companies throw their entire budget at all of their employees at the same manner. But because we are different, there should be a different approach. Some people needs different or stronger security measures. Some people should not have the network access privileges that they do. And that is another element that has to be looked at. The fit of network access privileges and personality traits.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like if we could go and take everybody's email back so that nobody had an email that they could send or click on or anything like that, and that they had to prove that they knew what they were looking for, what they weren't looking for, and know that they have to go slower, because that's the other thing too, is we're always trying to do 12 things at the same time. So that's why we're clicking on something sometimes. And so if everybody had to prove, and then you got your email, like it was a little golden ticket, it would be completely different. But instead, we hand them out like Tic Tacs to everybody. Oh, you're new. Here's your email address, and then off to the races we go, and then the problems just start. And I think that it really didn't start before the Nigerian prince. That's where we all go back to. When we needed to worry about cybersecurity, and those were so obvious. The misspellings, and why would a Nigerian prince be emailing me, and all this stuff. So it was pretty easy to pick up. But nowadays, as you know, they're very, very good looking, and they know we're all online shopping, clicking away here on Amazon, and they send things that look like that.
Yeah, it's a great thing that you brought up the Nigerian prince thing. I just saw a wave of emails going out to employees offering them to share the bounty of ransomware attacks. And the origin of those emails or those messages on social media and other platforms originate from a Nigerian ransomware group. Good luck for the insider malicious colluder to collect his bounty from those Nigerians actors.
That's terrible. Well, this was very, very helpful, and I'm so happy that we were talking about this, because this is, until we fix this, we're not going to be able to fix the cybersecurity problems, and we need to all start paying more attention to this and looking at things through a different lens, like you're saying. If different people have different personalities, and we need to teach them differently. So, thank you for that.
It's a huge issue, and thanks for inviting me to speak about this, Dana. It was a pleasure.
You are very welcome. Thank you for your time and all your expertise with this, and hopefully we'll have you back on.
Talk soon. Thank you.
All right. Take care, everybody. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.